So for the second time in 2023, I have been accused of ripping off somebody else's product. What? I'm not joking. Watch this. So today is Monday, it's 12 o'clock, and I'm filming a video that I didn't really want to film. And, you know, I've put a few videos up recently saying I don't want any more drama, I don't want any more feuds, I just want to get back to putting amazing content on this channel. And that's what I believe. And thank you, by the way, for everybody who has put made a comment about the creativity video, Craig's creativity process from last Thursday. Honestly, the feedback I've had from you guys about this, including like really big names in Magic, I really, really appreciate that. However, I'm not going to sit here and allow my name to be slandered over the internet. I'm not going to allow somebody to post on Facebook saying I'm doing the wrong thing when that absolutely isn't the case. And I'm also not going to have somebody throw out their version of what's happening in this situation without at least making my side of the whole situation known as well. And here's the thing, this person who I'm going to be talking about in a few minutes, they didn't contact me, they didn't privately contact me, they didn't send me a message on Facebook, they haven't done anything like that. So, you know, unfortunately, they want to make it public, they want to make it public on Facebook, that's absolutely fine. I just want to shine a light on it from my side of things and give them my blessing in a couple of different ways. Let's talk about what the situation is this time. So, last Thursday, I launched the Apparition Coin Set, which is something that I've been doing for about 8 years. The Apparition Coin Set, which is basically, if you've seen the trailer, a stacked ton of ideas. I think we're up to 4.5 hours of tutorial. I'm doing another hour of tutorials when I go to Alakazam next, which is going to be mid-May. A ton of material using a Chinese coin, using a silver coin, and using a purse. Now, it's a Tomonosuke style coin purse, but it's actually custom designed for this routine by the same leather workers that Alakazam use to make all of their wallet range, right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful purse. It's slightly bigger and it's got a few other features in it that allow various different routines to be done. Anyway, the Apparition Coin Set came out from Alakazam. We'd been working on this for a while. It had a soft launch at Blackpool, and then after the soft launch at Blackpool, it went out as a live launch on Thursday. It's sold out within 2 hours. Batch number 2 is close to selling out as well, and it's got all of my work on it for the last few years. Now, you've probably seen Justin Miller's name associated with this, and the reason that Justin Miller's name was associated with it is because a week before the Apparition Coin Set came out, I had an email from Justin saying, "Craig, we need to talk." And I rang him back immediately, and he told me and showed me that he'd bought out a very limited run, like 50 units, of a trick called the Dream Kit about 3 years ago. And ironically, me and Justin have been working on this, around about the same time. He had a very limited run on of it, so I didn't even know about it. It sold out, I think, in 20 minutes. And you can't find anything about the Dream Kit online, but he showed me all the tutorials and the improvements that I'd made to the original Lethal Tender, and the way that I'd actually gone with this. Justin had exactly the same thought process. Now, I had very different routines to Justin. We'd gone in completely different directions when it came to routine, but there was no denying that the Dream Kit had massive similarities to Apparition. And I said to Justin at the time, I want to do the right thing. You know, this is not something that I want to have hanging over my head. I don't want you to feel that you've been besmirched in any way. So we came to a deal that Justin was happy with. In fact, to the point that he actually included a tutorial with the Apparition Coin Set with his thoughts on it, and he joined me on the live launch and the after show, which was also videoed and included as part of the package as well. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, Justin was amazing in this whole situation. It could have been handled very differently, and it wasn't, and Justin's amazing about that. Anyway, so the reason Justin's name's been linked with it is because, he bought out the Dream Kit 3 years ago. We wanted to acknowledge that. And as I said, we came to a deal where everything was happy. Me and Justin's amazing. He's a legend. Anyway, Roy Cooper's name has been associated with this purely because we went to Roy to make the coins. He's got nothing else to do with this. We went to make the coins. Off the back of the Mirage coin set and the success of the Mirage coin set, where Roy made all of the coins for the Mirage coin set, it just was natural that we went to Roy to make the coins for Apparition as well. So Roy made the coins, the leather manufacturers in the UK made the purses. There's a lot of different moving parts to this. That's where we're at right now. And the launch was a success. I've been chatting to people on the Magic Cafe. The reviews are coming in. Everybody's loving it. It's all really well and good. And then this morning, I get notified that there's a post gone up by a guy called Jacob Jr. Now, I'm going to give you some context so you know exactly what's going on. I'm just going to talk about what all of this is about. I'm going to go through it all, and then I'm going to tell you things from my point of view. And I'd like to say something to Jacob publicly, just like you made public statements about me. Jacob, I'd like to do the same thing about you. So Jacob makes a post. Now, Jacob is the owner of Airship Magic. And Airship Magic, I'm a customer of theirs. I've bought stuff off them before. I think I've done a review show special on their stuff once, or I have definitely reviewed their things and discussed it in a 5x5. They own the rights to Lethal Tender, and which is a Steve Dushek trick. Now, Lethal Tender was the original inspiration both for me with the Apparition Coin Set and also the inspiration for Justin as well with his Dream Kit. So he owns the right to Lethal Tender. I mean, the Apparition Coin Set, to be clear, is a complete evolution and massively different in many, many ways, which we'll get to, than the Lethal Tender, but he owns Lethal Tender. So he owns Lethal Tender, and we'll talk about the differences in a minute. But then, Monday morning, he puts a post on Facebook. And the post, very simply, is a picture of a purse with two coins on top of it, a dollar and a Chinese coin. And they're not gimmicked. You can tell by looking at the coins they're not gimmicked. I think he's just taken two coins and put it on a standard Tom and Oscar coin purse. But he said, coming this spring, stroke summer, a new version of Lethal Tender called Aberration. That's right, not Apparition. He's changed it to Aberration. He's put a B in there. It's a modern day updated routine of Steve Dushek's Lethal Tender. And then he's got prices on there and says there's going to be a $50 and a $1 version. So anyway, a few people have commented on there saying, I'm intrigued. Is this based off one of his other ideas? Looking forward to this. Curious to see what the update is. A guy called Bob Lewis says, curious to see what the update is. And Jacob says, Bob, it no longer uses a playing card. It uses the coin purse and all fits neatly in your pocket. And Bob says, I like that idea. And Jacob then tells a little story. And he says, 2 years ago, we had Justin Miller as a client. He took it upon himself to take the Lethal Tender gimmick and Steve's name to promote it. We shut it down. But now it seems Justin and Craig have teamed up with Roy Cooper's to make it, giving no credit to Steve and using a Lethal Tender style gimmick without permission. Okay, so instead of charging $120, I'm charging a much fairer price. Justin went as far as, don't know what that's going on, something to do with web store. So there's a point here that we're going to get back to. So he says, Justin and Craig have teamed up with Roy Cooper's to make it, giving no credit to Steve and using the Lethal Tender style gimmick without permission. We'll park that Lethal Tender style gimmick little thing there for a minute, but I'm not teaming up with Justin. The Apparition Coin Set was originally going to just be Craig Petty and Alakazam. Justin got bought in because we wanted to give him credit and do a deal with him because he bought out something very similar 3 years ago, and this wasn't similar, not like Lethal Tender. So we did a deal with him, and he was so happy with the deal and was so happy that we did the right thing that he offered to supply some extra tutorial and be on the actual after show live, and we had a bit of a discussion on there. Nobody's teaming up. Me and Justin aren't teaming up on this product. So that's the first one. And they're teaming up with Roy Cooper's. Well, we're teaming up with Roy Cooper's insofar as he's the guy making the coins. He has nothing to do. In fact, I don't even know if he knows that the coins he's making is for this. We're just buying coins off Roy. I don't see why we can't buy a magnetic shell, a Chinese coin, and a copper coin, a silver coin, and have them cut down. Or are we saying that's not allowed? I don't know. So That's not true. We're not teaming up. There's no teaming up. It's my trick. The only person teaming up is me and Alakazam. You would know this if you'd actually reached out to Peter Nardi, or if you'd reached out to me and actually had this discussion in private as opposed to posting on Facebook, but you didn't. And then the next bit, giving no credit to Steve. First of all, on the project, Steve is credited as the initial inspiration towards the Apparition Coin Set. And also, if you watch the after show, but on that video where me and Justin are talking at the beginning, we talk about how amazing Steve Juszczyk is, and we talked about that the Lethal Tender was our jumping off point, and how we improved on Lethal Tender and in the different ways we improved on it. Credit was absolutely given, but again, you'd probably know that if instead of jumping on Facebook and just jumping into this situation, you'd actually spoken to either Alakazam or Peter Nardi, Harry Nardi, myself. Heck, you could have called Ryland if you wanted to. Anybody. If you'd actually done some research into this as opposed to making half-assed comments on Facebook and dragging me into another public feud, you'd probably know about this. And then he says that I'm using the Lethal Tender style gimmick without permission. We'll get back to that one, I promise you. Somebody else comes on and says, didn't Craig just come out with the same thing called Apparition? And Jacob says, yes, sure did, using Justin's copy of Lethal Tender gimmick, which he has no rights to use, and Craig knew better. So first of all, this is one of the reasons I'm making the video. Maybe I would have let it go. Maybe. But I'm not going to have my name dragged through the mud. And I'm not going to have my name dragged through the mud when you're making completely inaccurate, false accusations here. Using Justin's copy of Lethal Tender, I've been using this trick for 8 years. It just so happens that both Justin and myself went in the same direction when it came to actually putting this coin set together. But I wasn't using Justin's gimmick. I came up with this independently. And you say I've got no right to use, I've got no right to put my coin set out because of Lethal Tender. We'll get back to that in a minute. And then a few other people have commented, really just say, hey, I want this. I want this. You must be awake at night thinking about it. Not really. He just saw mine and decided to do his and change a P to a B, but whatever. And then, as of time, while I've been filming this, Mr. Peter Nardi has commented, who obviously owns Alakazam. I'm doing this video, and everything I'm saying on this video is not the views and opinions of Alakazam. But let's just read Pete's opinion out, because obviously I signed the rights to the Apparition Coin Set over to Pete. So the Apparition Coin Set, Pete now owns. So Pete says, hi, Jacob. This looks great, and having a purse is a nice and, in all honesty, needed update to Lethal Tender. I expect you'll be using the Lethal Tender gimmick, which you own the rights to, for your release, and not Craig or Justin's gimmick, which you do not own the rights to their creation. Only Steve Juszczyk's gimmick, which both Craig and Justin do not use in their effect. Lethal Tender is a wonderful effect, and I've personally sold thousands of them over years. The gimmick used in our Apparition Coin Set and Justin's Dream Kit is completely different to the Lethal Tender gimmick, which you purchase the rights to. And it allows you to perform effects and routines that are impossible to perform with Lethal Tender, as Lethal Tender, although a great effect, is one-phased quick transpo routine. The gimmick used in both Craig's and Justin's routines is not a Lethal Tender gimmick, and the rights are owned by myself and Alakazam Magic Limited. I wish you luck with your updated version of Lethal Tender, and I trust you will do the right thing here and not infringe on the rights or try passing off the name to an effect that Craig and Justin created, or which the rights are owned by my company. Right, so we can drop the laptop now. Maybe we'll get back to it in a bit, I don't know. So that's where we're at, okay? So this is, as of time of filming, everything I know. Everything I know. So let's talk about this, shall we? Let's talk about Lethal Tender. Now, those of you that don't know Lethal Tender, it's been around since time began. It's a great trick, great beginner trick. So what it is, it's a packet trick style wallet. So you know those sort of wallets that you have a packet trick in? And the idea is you have 2 coins in there, a Chinese coin and a silver coin, $half, not dollars, $half. So $half and a Chinese coin. You reach in and you take out the silver coin, and you put it on your hand or whatever, and then it comes with a playing card as well. Now, the old playing cards had little lightning bolts on them. I think that some of them have been updated now, but you get a playing card, you tap the silver coin with the playing card, and it turns into the Chinese coin, and then when the purse is opened up, it's basically a transposition. That's how it works. And the other thing you can do with it is just have 1 coin. You can take the Chinese coin out, put it on the purse, take out the card, open up and it's turned into a silver coin, and then tap and it's turned into a Chinese coin. That's basically what lethal tender is. Now, there's a few problems with lethal tender. Well, first of all, let's talk about how it works, because I think you need to understand how it works, and I'm also going to explain how my Apparition Coin Set works as well, so you guys can understand the differences here. So, how lethal tender works is you get a Chinese coin, you get a silver coin, and you also get a gimmick. And the gimmick is a flat piece of metal. It's not a shell. That's important. It is not a shell. What it is it's a flat piece of metal. And in the middle, there's a magnet, right? There's like a raised up magnet, slightly raised up, and it's painted black. So what happens is when you put the Chinese coin onto this piece of metal, and the piece of metal looks like a $50 on the other side, but when you put a Chinese coin onto the piece of metal, the raised up magnet fits into the hole and almost kind of locks it in place as long as you hold it in the right place, right? So you take that coin and you put it into the wallet, and when you do, it looks like you can see the hole in the Chinese coin. You're actually seeing the black in the magnet, but it's black art because it's black on a black wallet. It looks like you're seeing everything, right? And then you put the silver coin in there as well, and so the routine's very simple. You can take out, you show the two coins. You take out the card. The card is magnetic, by the way. You reach in and you take out, apparently, the silver coin, but you're really taking out the Chinese coin, but it looks silver because of the gimmick. You can put it on the table, put it on the hand, and you can tap with the card. And when you tap with the card, it will take away that piece of metal, and it will leave the Chinese coin. And then the piece of metal is on the bottom of the card, so you can steal that off the card, and then you can open up the wallet and you can show that the other coin's in there. Right? That's basically how it works. So it was the magnetic card. Now, there's a few problems with lethal tender. And for me, one of the biggest problems is that it's in a packet trick wallet. It kind of looks weird to put coins in a packet trick wallet. It looks like a magic trick. It really kind of does look like a magic trick. You have two coins in there. It kind of looks like a magic trick. It's not that nobody ever in the entire history of ever has carried coins around in a little wallet like that. You just don't see it happening. And also it kind of looks weird. You know, it's just kind of a weird thing to hold them in. You take the card out, you take the coins out. Now, the other issue is, because it's not a shell, you can't, anybody who knows me knows I'm a big fan of multi-phase routines. Well, you can't actually do a multi-phase routine. It's a one-trick pony. It's a transposition and that's it. And the reason is, the gimmick, once you've stolen the gimmick off, it's not like you can load it back into the Chinese coin very, very easily and then still show it as a Chinese coin. You can't, because what will happen is, if you somehow work out a way, first of all, you have to steal it off the card. Second of all, you'd have to then load it onto the actual coin, but you couldn't turn the coin over. You couldn't move your hand away because it looked silver, but you couldn't turn your hand over without covering up the hole because they'd see black. So you'd have to very quickly kind of do that. It just wouldn't work. So it's really a one-trick pony. And also, the card was kind of, there was no reason for the card to be there. It's kind of like, well, there's a card here, but why are you using a playing card? This is a coin trick, right? So, but for sure, and anyone who's got the project will know that lethal tender was my jumping off point. Now, what are the differences between lethal tender and the Apparition Coin Set? Well, first of all, the big difference is that you're not using one of those packet trick style wallets. You're using a purse, right? Now, the purse has been designed by leather manufacturers. It looks like a Tom and Oscar style coin purse. It's slightly bigger than a Tom and Oscar style coin purse. It's got a lot of stuff built into it. One of which is when there's a shell on the actual, there's a magnet in the purse, by the way, but it's not just stuck in there willy-nilly. The magnet was put in there at the actual time of manufacturing. So there's a double layer of velvet inside the purse, or whatever the material is inside the purse. There's a double layer of velvet in there. So the magnet goes inside that section. And it means that it looks completely empty. You could give it to a spectator and they could hold it, and you can have another spectator. And have a look at the trailer. You'll see that's what I do an awful lot of the time. I actually have the spectator hold the purse, have another spectator put a coin in there. It's absolutely fine. It's not a problem, right? Because of how the purse is made. But by having that magnet in there, the first thing that's happening is you're eliminating the need for a card. You don't need a card anymore, because the magnet that's used to do whatever transpositions or routines that you want to do is built into the purse. Now, because the magnet's in there, when you're using a shell, because mine uses a shell, by the way, when you're picking up the magnetic shell with the purse, you can't see anything because it's been designed to go into a particular point, so you can't see anything. It's completely angle proof. And when you put it onto a spectator's hand, because it's a shell and it weighs lighter, they cannot feel that shell on their hand. It's a really weird feeling. So you can literally just show so you can have a shell on top of a coin. You can take the coin out, put it onto the spectator's hand, show the purse, both sides, and they saw it empty, put that on their hand for a minute, as you show your hands empty, pick up the purse, which will steal the shell, have somebody else take the coin, put the purse back on top of their hand, which is loading the shell under there, but they don't feel it, vanish the coin, and then boom, you can lift up the purse, and you can show that the coin's appeared in the purse. And then all you do is you lift up the shell, load the coin back under, and you can show it on both sides. So there's that advantage of using a purse as well. So the first thing was, and also it makes sense to put coins inside a purse, right? So by using a purse and having the magnet go in the purse, that is a big creative leap forward. Because the first thing it does is it eliminates the packet trick wallet. The second thing it does is because you're using a purse and the magnet is inside the purse, you no longer need a card, which is unnecessary for this routine. You wouldn't use a card. So there's no cards, there's no packet trick wallets. Third of all, the purse looks like it's meant to be a thing. People know that you keep coins in purses. It looks more organic to hold a coin in a purse than hold it into a packet trick wallet. So you've got all of that going into it. And also it means that you can very, very clearly even have the spectators take the coins out the purse, right? So there's a lot of advantages of using a purse. No wallet anymore, no playing card anymore. And also because you're using a purse, the coins can now be in various different places. So they can be inside the purse, they can be on top of the purse, they can be underneath the purse, as opposed to a packet trick wallet where, because of how you have to slide it underneath that see-through thing, it limits the ways that you can actually use it. So that's the first thing, the purse. So the second thing is the gimmick itself. I just described how the lethal tender gimmick works, right? It's a sheet of metal. Now that works for the routine. I don't want to take anything away from lethal tender. Steve Dushek, as I said in the project, is a genius. He really is. Lethal tender's great, but it's a one-trick pony. Instead of using that sheet of metal that I talked about, or the lethal tender gimmick that Jacob says he's got the rights to, we're using a shell. So the coin has been cut down, the dollar has been cut down. And by the way, I'm using dollars. Lethal tender never came with dollars. I'm using dollars because it's more visual and it's easier to use with dollars than it is half dollars. So the coin's been cut down. The Chinese Bitcoin has been cut to exactly the same size. And the shell, which is magnetic, goes on top of either the Chinese coin or the silver coin. Now, there's a few advantages of having a shell in place, right? And the first advantage is, and this is what allows all of the different routines with both the Dream Kit and the Apparition Coin Set to function. The fact that you're using a shell that can go over either one of the coins allows so many different multi-phase style routines. You cannot transfer the lethal tender gimmick cannot sit on top of the silver coin. It can't sit on top of the silver coin. It can only sit on the Chinese coin. So what that lethal tender gimmick does is effectively turns that Chinese coin into a copper silver coin, as long as that Chinese coin is against something black. Right? And it will not fit on the silver coin. The lethal tender gimmick will not go onto the silver coin. What we have here is a shell. Now, first of all, if you know a shell, you get coverage along the sides as well as on the top. So first of all, anybody who's used a shell will tell you it means that the coverage is a lot better, which means that you can do routines like the routine that you see in the trailer where a coin appears underneath the purse. It's called chop. It's the chop cup style routine with the purse. It allows that to happen. The reason it allows that to happen is because if you were using the lethal tender style gimmick and you fixed it to the bottom of a purse and then you move the purse out of the way, well, all you're going to see is a flat piece of metal. There's no depth to the lethal tender gimmick. Whilst if you use a shell and you take that purse away, they see a shell and you can just take it away and load the coin inside very, very easily. So it adds depth, which makes a lot of those routines possible. The other thing that it does is it means that the shell can move from one coin to the other easily at will. Now that's very, very important. Now, one of the issues with lethal tender, or not an issue, but one of the things that I wanted to fix with the Apparition Coin Set is that the coins can't be examined at the beginning. They just can't. If you give the Chinese coin away, they're going to know how it works. You can't examine the coins. Now, if you think about this, if you have the two apparition coins inside the purse and you put the shell on top of the silver coin, now everything's inside the purse. You can show the purse, you can show your hands empty. It's all completely self-contained. You can open up the purse, you can take out the Chinese coin and show it, and you can take out the silver coin and show it. You can put those coins on your hand. You can then show the inside of the purse and put the outside of the purse. You can put you can then put the purse onto your hand, so it's covering up the silver coin, and therefore the shell is going to stick to it. And you can say, hold your hand out for me. Then you lift up the purse and you give them the two coins to examine. The purse has stolen the shell. So now you can have the coins examined right from the very, very beginning. Now, the next thing that you can do then is because the shell is underneath the purse, it's been held out underneath the purse. So I can just hold it, my hands look empty. I can then say, open up the purse. So I can have them open up the purse. The shell is still there, but nobody can see anything. And I can say, put the silver coin inside. So they put the silver coin inside and I close the purse. Now, it looks really fair because they put the silver coin inside, right? I can then say, put the Chinese coin on my hand. I can put the purse here. They see the Chinese coin on the hand. Remember, the shell is still underneath the purse. So now when I pick up the purse and I put it on top of the Chinese coin, I can just snap my fingers and I can show the silver coins there because the shell has gone onto the Chinese coin. But you can then, so the shell started off on the silver coin and then it went onto the Chinese coin. Now I can show the purse on both sides and they see the silver coin. So it's implied that the Chinese coin is here. I can then say, hold the hand out, and I can put the silver coin on their hand. It's really the Chinese coin with the shell. And then I can take the purse. Remember, I can show it both sides and I can show my hands empty, and I can just wave it over their hand and they won't feel anything because the magnet has been sourced to be a specific type of strength. It doesn't physically interact with the coin on their hand. It sucks the shell up onto the purse. It goes like that, literally just sucks it up, and you don't hear anything, you don't feel anything, and you don't see anything. From the audience's point of view, you just literally wave it over and you see the coin changing. And because they don't feel or see anything, you can do that under misdirection. So you can, for example, say, hey, hold the coin here, very good, and you can steal it and you can focus attention over here, and then when they look back, it's changed, whatever you want to do. So they see the Chinese coin, then all you have to do is finger palm the shell as you open up the purse and you give them the coin inside, and now they can examine that. So that one particular routine there, and there's a ton of routines, but that one particular routine works with the shell starting on the silver coin, then moving on to the Chinese coin, and then being stolen away. All using the purse, no card, just using the purse, and the shell floats from one coin to the other. Then you look at the routine where the coin keeps going underneath the purse. That doesn't even use the Chinese coin until the end. You put the Chinese coin away. But the fact is, the way that routine works is you're just constantly stealing the shell off and putting it back onto their hand. But they don't realize, because you've got so many displays, that your hands are empty, because you're constantly putting the shell back onto the silver coin, which means that once the shell's there, and because there's coverage around the sides, you can show your hands empty, but you can steal it away whenever you want to, because the magnet will steal it away without you having to do any sleight of hand. Now, there's mentalism. I don't want to go through everything on there. There's mentalism routines on there, and the mentalism routines work with the fact that there's the shell there. Peter Nardis' routine, which he explains on the tutorial, is about an 8 or a 9 phase routine, and the shell is permanently moving from one coin to another coin to another coin, depending on which phase of the routine he's going into. And it's a very natural way to move that shell from one phase to another. Now, all of my routines on the project do not use any black art, because that's the other thing that you had with with Lethal Tender, it used black art, right? So it used the concept of the black art, so that the black on the magnet was hidden because of the black packet trick wallet. That's not, none of my routines use black. However, you do get some extra gimmicks that you can fix into the shell, which will allow you that when the Chinese coin is in the shell, you can actually turn it over and it looks black through the Chinese coin, which looks amazing. Now, Pete uses that, and there's a few bonus ideas in the after show. I talked about routines by Lloyd Barnes. I talked about, Justin talked about a few different routines that allows you to use that black concept, which is great. But the thing is, you don't need a packet trick wallet to do that. It's a purse. So you can literally imagine this, and this is what Pete does. Imagine having a shell stuck to the purse, so your hands are empty, no table or anything. The shell is stuck to the purse. And you take the two coins back, and as you do, you put the purse over them, so the Chinese coin has gone into the shell. But when you turn your hand over, when you turn the purse over, and you put it here, and you take the silver coin away, they see the Chinese coin, and they see the hole through it. There's a shell there, right? But they don't see the shell because of the black art. So now you've got a very clean display. So now you don't need the purse. You can do a multi-phase routine without even needing the purse or having the purse in play, which is really cool. Lloyd has got a really nice change. So if you've got the shell on top of the Chinese coin, you can hold the purse so the magnet is uppermost, and you can just drop the coin onto the purse. And as you do it, it gives it a single flip. So it lands Chinese side up. But because of the black inside the shell, they see just Chinese coin. But because the magnet's in the purse, and they can immediately just throw that Chinese coin back into my hand and hand it out for examination. Now that's the Chinese coin, and the shell has been stolen away by the purse. Right, which leads me to the biggest difference between Apparition and between Lethal Tender, which is the multiple routines on the near 5-hour project that you cannot do with Lethal Tender. Lethal Tender, as good as it is a one-trick pony. That's it. It's a one-trick pony because of the gimmick that's included with it, and because of the packet trick wallet that's included with it, will not allow you to be able to do any of the routines that are included. You could do something very similar to Lethal Tender with Apparition, but you can't do anything with Lethal Tender that you can do with Apparition, because Apparition relies on the improvements. So now we come to the crux of it. Hopefully I've explained the difference between the two. So now we come to the crux of it. Jacob is going online and he's telling people that I should know better. Craig should know better, right? Craig should know better. Craig should know better because he shouldn't be stealing his rights to his trick. Well, what we have here with Lethal Tender is, compared to Apparition, let's look at the differences. One, it's a completely different gimmick. The actual gimmick that's used in Lethal Tender is not used in Apparition. It is a completely different gimmick. It's a magnetic shell that fits over the Chinese coin and the silver coin, as opposed to a piece of metal that looks like a $50 that will only go over the Chinese coin. Second of all, I can't release my version of Apparition because I don't know, there's a holder for the coins. Well, as far as I'm concerned, a purse is a natural evolution and improvement over a packet trick wallet. Or maybe Jacob's saying that I can't do it because he owns the rights to picking up a shell with a magnet. Is that what he's saying? Because that's a similarity. Yeah, I'm using a purse to pick up a magnet. He's using or Steve Dushek's original version used a card to pick up a magnet. As far as I'm concerned, the purse is more natural. But do either one of us hold the rights to make pick up a gimmick coin with a magnet that's built into something else? Because as far as I'm concerned, people have been doing that long before Steve Dushek. And if that's the case, and nobody ever again can do any type of routine that involves picking up a gimmick with a magnet, then I can literally list off about 1,000 coin routines that's come out over the last 10 years that you need to be chasing up because you shouldn't allow them if that's your stance. But I don't see a problem here, especially with the fact that with the original lethal tender, there has to be physical contact between the card and between the coin. You have to tap the card. Go look on YouTube. Look up lethal tender. Go find somewhere where they wave it over, or they do a different change, because there's multiple changes on the Apparition project. Multiple changes. Try and find somewhere where you can do that with lethal tender. You can't. You have to tap the coin with the card. That's what you have to do. You tap the coin with the card. So what exactly are you saying that I haven't got the rights to do? Because the thing that holds the coins are different. The actual coins are different. The gimmick is different. The way that the gimmick is stolen with a magnet is different. I don't see a similarity here, Jacob. I don't see a similarity. Now look, here's the thing. If you want to release first of all, mate, you're taking the mickey a bit by calling it Apparition. You're taking the mickey a little bit, Jacob, without calling me, without contacting me. And I know that there's probably people, your friends, that are going to say, well, Craig should have contacted you. No, I said to Pete, do you think we need to contact Lethal Tender? We both agreed, whoever owns the rights to Lethal Tender. We both said no. Because this is a massive evolution. And this is an issue. You're saying that I can't release this because it's too similar to that? It's evolved in almost every single way, including multiple hours of routines that would not be possible with the original Lethal Tender. So how am I not having the rights to do that? I've credited Steve Dushek. I've credited Lethal Tender. I think that's all I needed to do. But you have an issue with what I'm bringing out. You could have contacted me, but you didn't. That's fine. You put it on Facebook. You're telling people that I should have known better. You're telling people I'm not trustworthy. That's fine. That's my opinion. That's your opinion. Great. You know what? You're one of a long line of people that do that. And I've been a customer of yours. As you know, I've bought stuff from you. I've even raved about you online multiple times. Here's the thing. You're taking the mick by calling your thing Apparition. If you want to put Lethal Tender in a purse, hey, you're more than welcome. I can't stop you putting Lethal Tender in the purse. To be clear, that's not the original Lethal Tender, but if you want to put Lethal Tender in a purse, that's absolutely fine. But here's what I think from my point of view. The Lethal Tender gimmick that you bought the rights to, the Lethal Tender gimmick that you own the rights to, is not the Apparition Coin Set. It's not the Dream Kit. It is a complete and total different thing. I sincerely hope when Apparition comes out, it does not use a shell. I sincerely hope it does not use a magnetic shell that floats between coins. And I sincerely hope that it's not a, you don't use it in the way that I use it, because the routines and the concepts and that I have put together with the Apparition Coin Set, that is what I'm selling. The routines, the concepts, and the fact that the gimmicks that are included, which are different to the Lethal Tender gimmicks, are used to be able to make all of that happen. You want to put out a version of Lethal Tender using that little piece of metal that you've got the rights to? Hey, that's fine. That's all well and good. That's great. But don't start putting a shell on those things. And if you calling it Apparition and then taking the mick out of me and saying that I should have known better and saying that I'm teaming up with Justin and Roy Coopers, you're besmirching my name for what? Why? Seriously, I want anybody who's watching this to say in the comments down below, do you really? I've been very open about this situation. I've been very, very open. I've told you exactly how the Apparition Coin Set works. I've shown you, and I've told you exactly how Lethal Tender works. You can see the differences. So why are you now doing the same thing that you have accused me of doing? Why are you now copying the name of my trick? And probably, as far as I can see, reading between the lines, copying the gimmick. Because let's be clear, you don't own the rights to a magnetic shell. They've been around since time began. You don't own the rights to a magnetic shell. I don't own the rights to a magnetic shell. But what Alakazam does own the rights to is they own the rights to the magnetic shell put over coins which are cut down and put into a magnetic purse to do all of the routines that I did with Apparition. And looking at that little picture that you've put on the screen of a little Tom and Oscar coin purse with 2 little coins there and saying, hey, coming soon, that tells me everything that I need to know about you, Jacob. And I've heard stories about you. I've heard so many stories about you, Jacob. And I've chosen not to listen to any of them because I don't listen to stories. I don't listen to hearsay. I base my opinions on people based on their actions and based on how I interact with them. And as far as I can see here, you've not contacted me. You've not contacted Pete. You've thrown your toys out of a pram because you've got this particular trick here that you've bought the rights to, and now it's involved and it's improved. And so you're saying, well, I own the rights to that trick. I think that trick's better. I'm going to do my own version of it. I'm going to put it in a purse. Take your little, take it, do it. Take the purse. If you want to put lethal tender in a purse, do it. But that's not what I've got. What you have there is a gimmick which works in a packet trick wallet. It wouldn't work in a purse. It wouldn't work in a purse, not at all. It wouldn't work in a purse for a second. So if you're suddenly going to start putting a magnetic shell on there, you're doing just what you're accusing me of doing. Alakazam owned the rights to the Apparition Coin Set. I think it's ridiculous that you're calling it the Apparition Coin Set. I think it's ridiculous that you're posting online. And it's ridiculous that once again, somebody's decided to come after me because they perceive that I'm doing wrong. You don't know me. You don't know me. You don't know who I am. And you haven't even reached out to me or Peter. Do whatever you're going to do. I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do. But please understand that and you can read it in Peter's post. They own the rights. They own the rights. And what's the last sentence that he says? I trust you'll do the right thing here and not infringe on the rights or try passing off with the name to an effect that Craig and Justin created, and all the rights are owned by my company. Seems very clear. Peter Nardis' stance on this matter seems very clear. My stance is very simple. Stop dragging my name through the mud. Stop dragging my name through the mud. Stop getting upset that you've got a trick that unfortunately it's stood the test of time for many, many years, and it's a great trick. I recommend it for beginners. I really do. It's a great beginner trick. But name one working pro that actually uses that in the real world. Name one working pro that takes that little packet trick wallet out and actually uses it in the real world. You're not going to find anybody because it doesn't happen. But I know for a fact there are real world workers that are going out and working Apparition. So let's see if you do the right thing. Let's see. Hey, phone me, contact me, message me, give me a message. I'm very easy to find. I'd love to speak to you about this. Or better still, speak to Peter Nardi. He owns the rights on this product. But how you have behaved in this situation is absolutely ridiculous. And taking the name of my trick and taking it and turning it from a P until a B. This is why so many creators in Magic don't bother creating anymore. They're scared. I speak to new creators in Magic and they're scared to start creating. And the reason they're scared to start creating is because they're worried about stuff like this happening. They're worried about people like you. They're worried about people like Michael Weber. They're worried about people like that will squash them before they even get a chance to actually start doing something. I'm not saying you're a bully, you're not. But dragging my name through the mud is a despicable thing to do just because you're unhappy. And I'm not going to stand for it. I am not going to back down. I am not going to stand down. So continue to put little posts up online saying I should know better, or implying that I'm a thief, or implying that I'm in it with Justin and Roy. You know, you've got to be in your bonnet. That's the problem with you, buddy. You've got to be in your bonnet. What you need to do is you need to stop pointing fingers at other people, because when you point a finger at somebody else, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. What you're doing is what you're accusing me of doing. That's all I've got to say about that.